No, can't hear.
Can you guys hear online?
Dealey Edwards said no on the chat.
Now we're good? Everybody can hear?
Okay, did anybody hear the last 5 minutes of what I said? No, they can't hear.
Do over.
Okay, I'm gonna do a real quick redo. Did you hear about the Sabine luncheon? No. Okay, so we had a great turnout at the Sabine luncheon. I lost my momentum now, it's gonna be hard. We had about 50 people turn out for our Sabine luncheon with the EDC and the Main Street people, came out. We are gonna sponsor a squirrel, with the Main Street program, which we're really excited about. If you've seen in Austin, they have the boots and other things and the guitars, so we're gonna do that. So we're real excited about that. Next week, we're also gonna be doing, a blood drive here with the South Texas, Blood and Tissue Bank. We're gonna have a mobile unit here in the parking lot. It's gonna be between 10 and 3 p.m. So, if you check your Monday morning memo, there's a QR code, so please go and sign up for that. They really need, our support. So far, we only have 10 people signed up, so we definitely need to give them a good turnout. It only takes about 10, 15 minutes, so it's very quick. So if you can, please stop by on, November 2nd, and come on by. And then, next month, we're also gonna be going to the National Association of Realtors Convention in San Diego, so we're real excited about that. Most of them got canceled for the year, so this is gonna be a great one to attend, and we'll be bringing all that information back to our board and our membership. And then on December 1st, we're gonna be doing the, installation of officers for upcoming 2022. Debbie, can you give a wave to everybody and say hello as our new upcoming, there you are. Come help us celebrate with Debbie and welcome her to her new, year as president. So, that is about it. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to, Becky, the CEO of the Central Texas MLS, and our Mike Murphy.
Can everyone hear me okay? Okay. So there's a couple of products that I wanted to go over to let you know that we have. And then Mike will update you on the new things that we brought into the system. A couple of months ago, we bought a product called Clarity that has two parts to it. The first part you see every single day. Hi, Mike. The first part you see every day when you log into Matrix and see the dashboard. And that is a secure single sign-on for you to go to the different products out of Matrix. And at the bottom of that dashboard, you'll see that we've added all of the websites for the counties that we service to make it easy for you to get to their CADs. The other side of Clarity is a security part of the software that is now embedded into Matrix. And currently you're unable to save your passwords because of this security. You have to put them in every time, but I understand on the next upgrade that you will be able to do that and use your password management. This module is currently analyzing and documenting everybody's login ID, the password ID, the timestamp that you go into the system, the device ID that you're using, the device type, whether it's Android, Apple, your internet provider, the IP address, and it's watching your keystrokes. So this program has a way of assigning a risk factor, and we're using this to help identify passwords that are being shared. And we have quite a bit of that. And the misuse of data, we can see that too. So you might tell your agents that this would be a good time to review if anyone is using their passwords, and possibly have them contact Four Rivers to get a subscription because access to non-members is an automatic $1,000 fine. So for an example, I called a broker the other day that in one day, there were 40 logins on 24 devices. So even if she had 5 devices herself, that would be over $20,000 worth of fines in one day. But the most important thing is that it's unfair to all of you that are paying your dues and subscription for the use of the data, and then other people not paying. So we are starting to watch this, and we are starting a campaign to look for those that are sharing the passwords. We are starting also to take an aggressive approach to education, and we are now offering a fine waiver class. So if you receive a fine, or one of your agents receive a fine, rather than paying the fine, they can take this Zoom class, and it's about 45 minutes long, and their fine gets waived. We would much rather them know the rules and understand the rules than to take their money. We're looking for compliance and good data. And one of our biggest violations are those that are allowing their listings to expire without putting in the sold. And we need the sold. So we are working on that. We're also going to be offering an MLS orientation class, especially for those that are MLS only that aren't required to take the orientation. And correct me if I'm wrong, Regina, but I think you've got the first one tomorrow afternoon. Correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So we're looking forward to that. We also have a 3-hour CE class that we're working on for Matrix. We hope to have it ready to roll out the beginning of the year so agents can take a 3-hour CE class. We're not going to charge for it to help them with the Matrix. And then we're also looking at providing a 1-hour CE class for the Go MLS app to help with everyone out in the field on the mobile app. Pat mentioned NAR next month. We have a couple of rules that we expect to be passed next month through the NAR Board of Directors. One of those is they're going to require the MLS to add the broker's offer of compensation to the IDX and VAL feeds so that it is displayed on public facing sites. So the the buyers, the public can see what's being offered for buyers' compensation. The problem is educating them that this is only what's being offered to participants within our MLS. And I'm not sure how that's going to go, explaining that to the public. It's going to require that the MLS offer participants a single data feed. So if you want to get a back office feed and a VAL, that we combine it into one feed to make it easier for you. And then they're going to require buyer agents advertising their services for free to their clients. They are no longer going to be able to do that. And then they are going to prohibit, and this is coming out of what the DOJ wanted, even though the DOJ backed out of the agreement, to prohibit the ability of an agent to search listings based on compensation. So that will at one point not become a searchable field. And the last thing that I have is I've had lots of questions about the purchase of Remind. Are you aware of what Remind is? So Remind is a technology company. Mike and I've been watching it for about 3 years now. And it has 4 modules to it. It's one that is like a MLS, and they've got a mobile app. They've got a documentation and transaction management platform, and they have an ad edit module. And that's one of the modules that Mike and I are looking at possibly to get. So if you belong to 3 MLSs, you'll be able to go into this ad edit to put in your listing. And in the background, this will map all the fields. Let's say you belong to Central Texas, Actress, and Sabor. It will map all the fields. So when you load it in once, it will populate all your MLSs, kind of like what they wanted for Upstream. So we've been looking at that, but in the meantime, 4 MLSs across the country, which consist of Atlanta, Kansas City, Austin, and Miami, formed a company called MLS Technology Holdings, and they have bought Remind. So we've got MLSs buying the technology rather than a venture capital doing it. There's lots of other investors that invested in Remind in the beginning. They haven't been real clear what's going on with those investors. They're probably going to roll their equity into the holding company, and we'll just have to see how that goes. But that's for all the questions that everyone had on how was Remind purchased and what does that mean for us. So we're in a holding pattern to see what happens, because Remind had some issues within their corporation that Mike and I agree that before we get serious and looking at their product again, they need to right their ship. So we'll see how this new company does in helping them out. Any questions on that? Okay, Mike, you want to update them on the other?
Oh, we got a question from the audience on this side.
Well, Becky, it's Pam. Listen, honestly, I want to hear you say all of that one more time about the Remind, because it really, at first I thought that was a great idea, but I understand their concern.
Well, I like the idea. My personal opinion, I like the idea that MLSs have come together to buy the technology companies. It's going to be interesting to see how this rolls out, because I know at one time Remind was having money problems. So I don't know what kind of influx of money has been put toward them, but they've got good products, but it's going to take money to get them even better and keep them leading edge. And even though this is a company owned by MLSs, these MLSs are still run by boards of directors, which in my leadership time, I never saw a board of directors that was thrilled about funneling a lot of cash out to another company. So we'll have to see how all the MLSs do. I like the idea. We'll just have to see how it plays out, and if they're able to help corporately what they need within Remind to make it successful. I think the technology is good, but I do have questions about the management of the company. So we'll have to see how that goes. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you, Becky.
You're welcome, dear.
All right, you want me to take over vocals now? You got Lisa on keyboards over there? I'm going to share my screen here. A couple of the latest things that we've rolled out are Farm and Ranch. You guys may have seen the announcements and all that. It's been out for over a month now, but we're starting to get a lot of traction, and it's really serving us well. So a lot of people have been asking about Farm and Ranch for a long time, and so now it's live in the MLS. So if we were to go over to Matrix, let me move the screen over here for you. Over this way. There we go. So Farm and Ranch, if you guys haven't done this already, you can come into your hot sheets, you can come into your market watch, and you can customize your market watch per property type if you wanted to. Okay. Otherwise, if you hit cross property, it shows you everything in the MLS and updates, and you can change that for 7 days and all that. We cover this a lot in our new member orientation trainings. There's a lot of features and stuff that Matrix do that I'm finding that our senior brokers and managers aren't aware of. So it's always good. And every time we have Selena or one of our, trainers training on Matrix, even myself, I'm in it every single day. You know, a lot of you are as well. There's always something new that I learn, right? Because everybody works the business different. If you're a, buyer's agent, selling agent, an appraiser, or whatever, just prospecting, what have you. And some of these agents and brokers get pretty creative in how they use Matrix. I'm like, I didn't know they could do that and get this information out of there. And like Becky says, we're really, we're sticklers on the security and on the data. And so we happen to go through a couple of different scenarios where I'm watching exports right out of the MLS, and there's some members that were scraping data. We don't know what they're doing with the data, but we don't like not having control of your data, right? You guys entrust the MLS in protecting that, and we do everything we can in our power to do that, and we chase after these people to ask them and find out about it. So we take it very serious. The whole crux of the MLS is the importance of the data, right? If all of our listings were in some other area, some other brokerages, what have you, and then they wouldn't need the MLS, right? So it's very important for several reasons to keep that up to date. And that's also why we have this compliance program. We're not trying to be a pain in the neck, and we're not trying to find people for compliance issues and all that. We just want correct data. And that's why we've offered this new education class. We're not, I'll hear things like, oh, you just are finding because you want to generate money. No, we're not paying any salaries or payroll out of what we're finding on there. We want correct data because that makes everybody here and online look professional, right? So that's the whole premise. Getting back to Farm and Ranch, with Farm and Ranch, we've added a whole bunch of new fields. So if you go to the input section and you're input a Farm and Ranch property, like my little tiny house there for my test listing, but it's under lot environment utility. There's a whole bunch of new fields that we've added in here. A lot of which are things like well depth, number of stock tanks, water rights, endangered species, soil type, suitable use. There's a whole slew of new fields that we've put on there. Not all are required, but if you have a farm and ranch, then this is for you. Now, what we've done is in the definitions of the rules and regulations, your property has to be 10 acres or more to qualify for farm and ranch, and the farm and ranch has to be used for agricultural use or livestock use. It can't just be like somebody's big giant property and be considered a farm. It actually has to be used by farm and ranch, as agriculture or livestock. Any questions on that so far? All right, excellent. So that's kind of old news, but by all means, use that and abuse it.
Sorry.
Yeah, Kevin, go ahead.
Agriculture and beef. You also have wildlife, which is an exemption in full in ag. And the Do you have anything that addresses that? Because that is a prescribed use.
Well, for livestock, we've got suitable use.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I think
Just
there
making
should be on
sure. Got it.
there. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we try to account for everything. I'm sure there's going to be some use cases where there might be something unique or whatever. And if you run into that, by all means, let me know. So and I've talked about this in other classes. Not everybody's up to speed with this, but if I have to add a brand new field, like this field suitable use, that's very hard to do. That's why we haven't had an update to CoreLogic in a lot of years. But if there's something that falls into one of these categories, I can add that very easily. So if there's a type of suitable use that's not in that big list that needs to be applied, by all means, reach out to your leadership, let me know, contact me directly, and we'll get it added, okay? So we're, pretty flexible as far as that's concerned. My next big project that we're working on is renaming of status. So we've had some status in the system for a long time. They haven't been updated, and they're different than what the REZO defines. REZO is the Real Estate Standards Organization, the national organization that defines a lot of our fields and use types and all that. They keep everything from New York to Chicago to Oklahoma, everybody kind of on the same page, so that we're all calling the like items the same things, right? Residential is residential there, and commercial is commercial over here. So one of those things happens to be, hang on, I got somebody that needs to come into in the waiting room here. If I can find my, Lisa, can you let them in, or did you lose control? Okay. Anyway, the status, what we're going to do is we're going to go active. We're going to split out our pendings. So we've got pending taking backup, and we have pending with option. Pending with option is going to change to active under contract, and it's going to turn into an off-market status. So if you're in the option period, it's not going to be syndicated out to all the third parties. So if you're still showing, and if you're still taking offers, then that's going to be pending taking backup, and you can still do that. We don't have a canceled status, and one of my #1 questions is, hey, I want to cancel this listing. I canceled it in San Antonio, or I canceled it in Austin, and what the heck do I do in Central Texas? And we've repurposed withdrawn as our canceled status, and that's really not right. So we're going to add an actual canceled status into our system, so that'll be helpful. And then we're going to rename sold to closed. So that's kind of, it's more of like the industry term, and sold was more of a CoreLogic term from way back, and it's a little bit out of touch. So we're just going to update that. So a couple things going on. I'm always, it seems like as soon as I get out of one project, we end up with another one. So, job security is great for me anyway, right here. But, we're trying to be progressive. We're trying to keep everybody on the same page, keep you guys up to date, and hopefully less confused when you're working and operating in between all these multiple systems. So that's the intention. So, and then the last thing I want to talk about is the Supra. How many people have gone into Supra and have enabled the e-alerts? How many even know what I'm talking about? So with security, right, and keeping everybody protected, Supra on their own accord has gone into their app, and they've done this. This is a year and a half or 2 years old now. But what they do is they added an option onto their app where you can hit a button. You have to enable it on the Supra web first. So you hit a button, and it will either text or email, like emergency services or whoever you designate, like your broker or your manager or whatever, and you can, put in the message whatever you want. And if you're uncomfortable on a showing, and then you can click this button, and then they'll call you or show up or whatever. But what's really cool is it just doesn't send like a text with your message. It actually captures your geocode. So if I'm in like the living room of a house, or I'm on like the back 40 of a 10-acre property, and I'm not comfortable with my buyer, and I hit that button, it sends that geocode to my contacts, and then they can forward that to authorities if something were to happen. So, and this is free. You do have to go online and enable it. So let me show you real quick how to do that. When you go to the Supra web, so when I go into the superweb.supercam, blah, 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 for my key, when I'm going to manage my key, on the home page, you've got this e-key alerts button right here. Everybody see that? Click the EQ Alerts button. You're prompted with this screen over here. This screen over here. And you have to first enable it. And then you're going to put your contacts in there. So of course, my contacts, obviously, Jenny, you're going to call 8675309. And if Jenny's not around, then you call John Wick at mrveek@babayaga.com. And when all else fails, we've always got Chuck Norris, right? And then you put a message down here. So the message can say anything you want. So, hi, I'm with a client. This Mike Murphy guy's a creep. Please send tacos. Hopefully your message is a little bit more informative than that. But you get the idea. And then you save it. And then it takes about 5 to 15 minutes. And then when you go to the super app on your phone, in the bottom left corner, that little triangle will pop up. And then you can enable that. So I recommend that you guys use this. Tell your agents about this. And if you have more questions, you can call the association office. Anybody here can walk you through it. Or obviously contact myself. Any questions on the super app for that? And I thought that was really cool because they did that for free, and we don't get much for free with a software company these days. So that's kind of nice.
So once you enable this online, then there's a button on your phone that will pop up that we haven't seen before that says this, and then we hit that button.
That's right. So I can show it here. Let me see if I can do this. So this alert button down here, it's hard to see online, but that turns white and then that will enable to go.
Okay, so then we just push that button.
It's in the bottom left corner of the super app when you open the super app.
Okay.
See that one right there? It says
Oh,
alert.
yeah.
So it's grayed out by default, but then this little guy.
Have to go, you have to
Yeah.
go.
So it's telling people where you're at, correct?
Yes. Yeah, it sends the latitude and longitude of where your phone's at, so, at the time. So if your phone's offline or something, then it'll show, all right? So I think that's really important to get out. I talked about this in the new member orientation stuff, and a lot of the new technologies are coming out. We need to start doing more of that for you all. Just as far as where we're going with technologies, where we're going with rules and regulations. And, we're doing these quarterly, which is good, but we're trying to pack a lot of information into a short amount of time for you, so, all right? And then, of course, if you guys ever have questions about something, just reach out and say, hey, Mike, what the heck, I heard about this on the news. What's going on? Where are you guys going with this? Whatever. And then if we need to bring the team together, we'll do it, all right? And that's all I had for my update.
Home visit.
And home visit, you're right, that's not all I had. I totally skipped that section. Home visit's a brand new product. Sorry. Home visit's a brand new product. Who's heard of or used home visit so far? Okay. Anybody online? Home visit? All right. So in Matrix, we have a brand new product that we've added, and it's called Home Visit. And what that is they've commissioned photographers in our local area to come out and do professional photography for you. So a lot of our larger firms, our national firms, have these services that they already include with the firms, but not everybody can do that. So if you wanted to have professional photography like this, where they're showing daytime, twilight, and some other things, then all you do is you click on this, or when you edit your listing, there's an option that says order photos, and they'll do photos, 3D modeling, like Matterport stuff. They can do postcards, and they take care of everything for you. And they've got really heavy duty card stock and everything they use. It's really good quality stuff. But what I really like is that they're using our own local photographers to do that. So nobody's losing their job. As a matter of fact, I had a photographer out in Blanco call me, and he's like, hey, business is a little slim. I really like working in your area, so why don't you call CoreLogic, and then if they approve you as a photographer, then you'll get leads for this product. And so anyway, it's helping, it's going both ways, right? And it's a la carte. It doesn't cost you guys anything out of the box, right? Any more subscriptions on there, but if you want to order the products, then it's a la carte pricing, right? You can order just the photography suites, and I'll show you some of that in a minute here. But let me show a real quick video. on the product, and then that way it'll hopefully give you a little bit better idea of it. But we've got a whole like learning center and everything on there to show you all the details, and we've had trainings online. And so we've actually got trainings within our system of, hey, you want to click this, you want to do that. So you can go back with your staff and look at those Zoom trainings because I put them on our website. So when we come in here, member sign in, I'll bet you I'm not signed in, no. And from the member page on the Four Rivers site, when you go to Learning Center, we've added the home visit link right here. We're trying to keep all the trainings under the Learning Center section to make it easy. And you saw there's matrix and other stuff in there too. Okay, so we've got the CTX overview, 3D modeling, like how to actually do it and all that. So here's a real quick product overview. I'm not sure if I shared my audio with you guys online, so hopefully you can hear this. So that's a real basic high-level view of what it does. But they'll have, there's a lot of requirements they have. Their photographers have to be bonded and insured. There's a dress code that they have to do, so you're not going to get, Bucky showing up in like, my flip-flops and shorts and a t-shirt or whatever with holes in it. So, they're representing not only you all with your clients, but also CoreLogic because it's a CoreLogic product. So they're very strict with that. But I think it'll be good. I'm waiting to get usage stats, but we've been getting a lot of people on the trainings that they did that we recorded here. Yes.
So on the pricing, is it like they just pick the photographer, we don't pick them, they pick it, and then they just send them, correct?
Yeah, they're representatives.
So then they will go and reach out to one of them, and if they say no, then they go to the next one. So we're not going to home visit and then seeing who we want and then picking them.
No, so the question was, are we picking our photographers with home visit? And you're not picking your own photographer. Obviously, if you have your own that you commission with, you have a favorite, obviously you could use them. If you don't, then this is an option or an alternative for you. Okay. So, but what happens is that you order a la carte the services, and they have their own, several photographers that are already in the network for our entire area for Central Texas. And so what they do is the order goes out, and then they send, you don't know which photographer is going to show up, but they all are trained. They're trained from like certain angles, like how to take the photography, certain lighting, and there's a lot of criteria and stuff that go through their photographer training on there. It's pretty neat, and they do a good job. We've got great feedback so far. So just real quick to show you, give you an idea of what that is. When you click on home visit, you come into the main website over here. Right, it shows my profile, hopefully it's going to have your profile pic, a little more professional than that. And then you come in, you can add whatever you want. So you want to create a new order, and then there's a bunch of different products and stuff in here. I'm not going to go through the whole.
I could just click on one thing, how it shows up the pricing module,
yeah.
How you do that, just to give an idea.
Yeah, so let's see what we can get here. Let's go visual media. So I click get started on visual media, and I can type in my property address. I think I can skip that too. So I could order postcards or what have you for that property. Let's see. Let's do this isn't in the MLS, so it might not show up, but let's see. Okay, let's go a different direction. Let me show you this. So I'm going to grab somebody else's and just pretend. So let's grab a new listing. So when you edit your listing, if you come down to the bottom, it says order photos from home visit. You click on the order photos from home visit. It pulls in all the listing information. Importing the property, order services. Visual media, this is where we were a second ago, only now it's got the property information. Does anybody know this agent? I'm kidding. So you can see the basic photography starts at like 109, night photography, 2D and 3D floor plans. There's drone and video stuff. A lot of people, they show it, request image edits. Oh, and then you can do corrections and stuff where they'll change like the cloudy days to, you know, not cloudy days, et cetera. The floor plans are a huge hit with a lot of people because it automatically does like the dollhouse view, and it's not just like one view. It doesn't matter which way you rotate the screen and stuff on there. But under the Learning Center, there's a whole bunch of videos on how it works, how to use it, and then all the services that they do. So by all means, you know, go back in there in your spare time and try to learn about that. I could talk about this, but we've had several like 1-hour trainings on that. I don't want to make we still have Casey and other people up. I don't want to hog all the time. All right. Any other questions on that?
Mike,
Very welcome. Yes.
one thing that I did want to tell the brokers is one of the items that we like about this is CoreLogic takes care of all the licensing with the photographers and the copyright. And you as the broker keep the copyright. Although it's owned within the MLS, you have full rights to all your photography that you buy. And CoreLogic has taken care of all of the legal side of that with the photographers, so you don't need to worry about that.
Yeah, that's a great point, Becky. Thank you for bringing that up. All right, let me stop sharing my screen here. All righty. And with that, that concludes my updates. So Casey, you're up.
All right. You walk up to the front. I'm gonna come up here. I may and sit next to Pat, stand next to Pat. Pat, can I stand next to you?
Yes.
Thank you. You know, I'm very excited to look on the screen here, and I see we represent 5 counties, and I see brokers on here from all 5 of our counties there and in this room. That is important to us as a board. That's important to the things I'm about to talk to you all about. If I may, I'm going to work backwards in time. It's just, I'm reading through my notes, and it just kind of works better that way. Legislative session, I've talked to you all about this before, and it seems like this was the session that would never end. Well, I think third time's a charm. They got it right, finally. But it has pushed some things out into the future. That's why I'd like to work backwards. We finally have maps. It is constitutionally required that every 10 years, based on the census data, that the legislature redraws their maps. And they finally got around this third special session to redoing the maps. What does that mean? That means in May, in March, we will have primaries for the May elections, and we will see our districts change. Ladies and gentlemen, we are up and down the corridor. You all know this is better than anybody. There's a lot of power that runs up and down this corridor. There's a lot of people that want to live right here. All the districts have to be roughly the same size in population, and so we will see some changes to the maps. So we are seeing some changes to the maps, to our legislators. Your legislators, depending on where you are, they may change. If you're interested in looking at those maps, I have the links for all of them. I'd be very happy to share them with you. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead. I'll go ahead and have those links put up on our Facebook page. Lisa will be kind enough to do that for me. I'll send you the links. We'll do that. But if you want to get those before that, shoot me an email, and I'll send them out to you. I'll be happy to talk to you about them because I've gone through the maps and looked to see what's changing. And we do have some big changes coming in our district. You may not have the same legislators that you had last election cycle. That being said, a lot of the changes push a lot of the districts to being very strong in the party that they are represented by, which means that the primaries are going to be where the battles are fought. Primaries. There are some districts, not very many of ours, that are going to fall into the general, where the battles really in general. Most of ours are going to be primary battles. That's going to be Republican against Republican, Democrat against Democrat. we already have a deadline. This is gonna be a busy year, people. We already have deadlines popping up, where our support needs to come from. Our first deadline for candidate support is December 10th. So our committees are gonna be hitting those, recommendations hard here coming up. And I recommend that y'all be on our committees, you get your agents on our committees, because you want to be involved in this, you want to be making the decisions that the board is going to be making recommendations on. Our first deadline, December 10th, is going to be, this is going to go all the way, there are multiple deadlines, all the way to the March 1st primaries. And then, of course, leading into the May elections. In May, you are going to see, came out of part of the third special session, you're going to see a homestead exemption, constitutional amendment to increase the homestead exemption on the May ballot. This is May 7th, 2022. You're going to see a constitutional amendment to raise the homestead exemption from $25,000 to $40,000. Yeah, it's a big deal. The last time there was a constitutional amendment on a May ballot was May of 2007. This doesn't happen very often. So this is going to be a big one. We're going to have to really get out and push. We will be doing a local campaign to get out in conjunction with the state to get the vote out for the May elections on that homestead exemption proposition. If y'all have some questions while I'm talking, please just shout out, let me know. I'll be happy to stop at any point to answer questions. So we've got May elections, you're going to see a homestead exemption in those elections, and then before them, you're going to see primaries in March. Actually, the early voting is going to take part in February, from the middle to the end of February, and then March 1st will be the primaries. However, yes, ma'am.
I have a quick question. I had heard that Comel ISD was looking at removing their 65 and older exemption, saying that they will still have to pay their school tax.
Removing their exemption. I have not heard that one.
Okay.
I will definitely look into that one, but I have not heard that one. That is they would be the only county to try to do so. I'll look into that one.
I heard that when they were talking about the bond proposition, that was
Right
part of
now.
Yeah. Because they said that they're saying they're needing more money, but.
So I've got the bonds on my talking points coming up next, but I had not heard that, trying to remove the 65. I don't think it would work. Hey, I'm not even sure they could do it, but, let me look into that.
Casey might let people know that in Hayes County, where Pat and I live, but our state rep in the legislature, not the Senate, is Blanco County and Hayes County, and that's Blanco County is being cut off, and we're being merged into basically Comel County, and Comel County is going to determine that election for Hayes County, basically, because they're going to control like 73% of the vote.
So you're specifically talking about HG 45, that's Aaron Zwiener, and currently her map covers all of Hayes County. However, with the new changes,
Going up the highway.
so yes, HG 45 will split and only cover the east side of Hayes County. It won't dip into the last map I saw, and I'll look at it again, the last map I saw in the evaluation, I mean, it didn't dip into Comel County at all. It stopped at the border. So it was just Hayes County, it was just the east side of Hayes County. Interestingly, that zones her out of her own district, because she lives in Driftwood. And so she would have to file for she'd either have to not run, move, or file for an exemption, which she can do to continue to run in 45, but then you're running for a county you don't live in and you're not represented by. That's always hard to do.
You're right, I should have said west of 35, because that's the line, we actually picked up another, legislative district, and that's why this redrawing of the, I have a friend that's involved in the politics with that, so.
I'm loving the input here. Yes, we're having this conversation. So you're talking about HD 73 also, which is picking up the west side of Hayes County.
Right.
It will keep Comal County like it already does, picks up the west side of Hayes County. It loses the Blanco County,
Right.
where originally it went out into Blanco County and all, it touched our Central Hill Country Board and all that. It's losing all of that. So again, we're talking about Representative Biederman there. Representative Biederman, luckily for him, had just recently made the move from Fredericksburg, where he lived and has a hardware store, to Comal County, to New Braunfels area. He moved here recently. And so I have not heard exactly what his plan is. I think his plan is still to stay in Comal County area and run again for HD 73 because he's an incumbent there. If he were to move back, he would have to run, that would be HD 19. And he would be running against some very powerful Austin players who are trying to run there. Ellen Troxclair is a former city council member up there in Austin. She's going to run for HD 19. It'll be a hard race. Yeah. So, like I said, lots of changes for our area. These maps are very in-depth. I've pulled them up. I've done overlays of previous versus new maps versus where the county lines are. A lot of interesting data if you're into that kind of thing. It's very confusing if you don't care about that at all. But that's why we're here. That's why our committees take these issues and they review these issues. They look at them and say, how is this going to impact realtors and homeowners? And it's very possible, depending on where you live, that you may not have the same legislator that you had last time. We were looking at, it was entirely possible that based on the map changes, you go to the congressional level. Chip Roy is mine and most of the people in this room representative. It's very possible that he wouldn't be anymore. Now, it's stayed, so he will continue to be, but there's some big changes, especially if you are Comal County, west of the highway, but up this little strip. It's entirely possible that you'll be picked up by Henry Cuellar, who, as y'all may know, is very active in the south, not so active right in this area. And yet, he's looking to be your new representative if you live in that little district. So, lots of map changes, lots of interesting information coming out, and that's going to change a lot of the elections that we hold in the primaries again. As I mentioned before, a lot of these maps were drawn because, as you know, in the last election and previous, as elections have gone on, has had a lot more battleground districts where on either side, those elections have been very hard fought in the generals. And this was an effort to pull those back, especially for the Republican side. If there was a swing district in Texas, it is now most districts in Texas, if they were held by a Republican in the last election, they are a 20-point lead now. There are some Democratic districts that were held where they said, okay, now yours are stronger too, but there are a lot of Democratic districts that are going to have to fight a lot harder. Again, it's going to cause a lot of fight in the primaries and a lot of fight in the generals. So we're going to be paying attention to all of that coming up. And as I said, our first deadline to look into to support some of these candidates, or some of our friendly incumbents, some candidates that we know that we want to support, our first deadline is December 10th. And that's a quick turnaround. So, any questions on that? Do I have any online here? Chelsea's got her hand up.
Chelsea?
Unmute her.
From you.
She may just have her hand up and not realize it. But if you do come on, I'll stop and we can talk. Now, moving backwards in time, we have an election going on right now. Who has early voted? Nobody in this room has early voted. All right, online, I need to see, who has early voted? Chelsea's got her hand up, she must have early voted.
No, her hand was
Lee, did you early vote? Lee, did you early vote? Yes? You early voted, Lee early voted, good. I don't see Tim on here anymore. I really wish he was, I hope he early voted. Anyway, state level, I'm gonna start state level, work our way down. The election we've got going on right now, we've got 2 more days to vote, to early vote. And then we will have the election day be on November 2nd. So 2 more days to early vote. And the information I'm about to share you, Lisa has been kind enough to share on our Facebook page already. But if you want more of this, again, contact me, casey@FourRiversRealtors.com. Be happy to talk to you at any point in time. So Lisa shared this already. We've got 8 constitutional amendments on the ballot right now. If you go to TexasRealtorsSupport.com, there are 2 S's right next to each other, so make sure you get both of them. TexasRealtorsSupport.com. It will show you all 8 of the ballot of the propositions, and it'll describe them, and it will tell you what Texas Realtors' position is on them. They're neutral on all 8 of these, and you're going to see a couple on there that relate to homestead exemption. You're going to say, why is Texas Realtors neutral on these? It's homestead exemption. They should be for it, right? It's because it's a homestead exemption for certain people. It's not saying it's a bad homestead exemption. It's saying that it's for certain people and not all. And keep in mind when you go to vote, that if you vote yes on this, you're giving the homestead exemption to this group over here, but you, if you have your own home, you have to pick up the burden of that tax burden. Okay? Having said that, I'll go ahead and tell you right now, I voted yes. That's my personal vote, I voted yes. Because I saw the need to extend the homestead exemption for these 2, and I'll talk about it in a second. And that coming in as an informed voter, I know that I have to pick up the extra tab on that, and I'm fine doing it. That's me. I'm not telling anybody how to vote here. I want you to vote with your conscience. I want you to vote with your values. But that's the way I did. So
there's a lot of history behind every one of them. Every one of them. And if you haven't been to any sessions, whatever affiliation you are with, you need to go because they will explain why your representatives have these on the docket. That this has gone through them. They've said, yes, we approve these to be on here, and the reasoning for them. And just like the homestead exemption, I believe that is the one where if I was exempted and my husband is 3 years younger than me and he would not be exempted. I think that's part of it.
A little different than that.
Okay.
A little different than that. Let me roll through these real quick. Authorizing the legislature, and these are written in language easy to understand because the ballot language may not be that easy to understand. Authorizing the legislature to permit charitable raffles at rodeo events. These are professional rodeo events. So I'm not talking about your 4-H. This is professional rodeo events right now. They're professionals, so they can't have raffles, chicken raffles that benefit charities. This is saying they'd be able to. This one, and this is one of those where the language you're going to read, Proposition 2, the language is misleading. Because would you click on expand that please, Lisa, on number 2? The ballot language says constitutional amendment authorizing the county to finance the development or redevelopment of transportation or infrastructure in unproductive, underdeveloped, or blighted areas of the county. It's just authorizing them to finance some transportation and roadways in areas that need it. That doesn't sound like a bad thing. What it leaves out, the key word that it leaves out is debt. It authorizes them to issue debt as bonds to fund those projects. I'm not saying those projects aren't needed. I'm not saying they shouldn't have the authority to do that.
I'm saying the language is misleading, in that they say they have the authority to finance them. They don't say they have the authority to issue debt to finance them. I think as property owners, as taxpayers, you need to know that, because you're going to be paying for it in the future.
Got a flyer yesterday, you're exactly right.
And when I got to the ballot, I voted day one. When I went to the ballot, I pulled it up, and I went, wait a minute, that doesn't say what I thought it said. And I had to go look, take my notes with me, I had to look and say, here it is, where's that? Proposition 3 is constitutionally prohibiting state limits on religious services. Pretty much, if you went to your church during COVID, this is response to COVID, you went to your church during COVID and they said, no, the state or local, it's actually state or local. And they said, no, you can't go to your church because you've got too many people. Yeah, it's a meeting, you can't do that. If you want to tell them they can't do that, then vote yes on that. If you think that should be a state or local decision, then vote no on it. Very simple. The next two relate to eligibility requirements and the ability to review judges who have been appointed versus elected. I am not a lawyer, I'm not a judge, this is outside my ballpark. I could delve into it a little bit more and tell you what I thought and what I voted for, but those are judge issues.
It just made the criteria more clear.
Yes.
What the experience they needed to have in order to be able to.
Yes, and so, again, I'd be more than happy to talk about the way I voted on that one and why I chose the way I did, but again, I am not an attorney, I'm not a judge, I don't know what they go through. I know the election process they go through, and that's it, I don't know the review process they go through. Number 6, Proposition 6 is creating the right of long-term care residents to designate an positional caregiver. This was, if you're in a long-term care facility, or if you've got a family member in a long-term care facility and you weren't able to go see them, again, in response to COVID, they're saying, this is saying that they will give one person authorization. You are an essential caregiver for her. That means if anything happens, they cannot deny you entrance to see her in the facility. The only opponents to this that I'm seeing are that the opponents are saying it limits you to one person. That's not enough. So again, they're not saying it's bad, they're just saying it limits to one person. Now the two that you're going to wonder, why it was not positives, why it was neutral. The property tax limitation, this one's worded a little bit funny. Please click to expand, right? So it allows the surviving spouse of a person who's disabled to continue to receive their benefits as long as they are 55 years or older at the time.
That's one of them.
Yeah. Right now, if the spouse dies, they're 55 years old or older, and they die, and the spouse is younger or at all, not disabled themselves, they lose the benefit. Meanwhile, but you and I all know, your income didn't go up, the expenses didn't go down. Why all of a sudden you lose the break and you have to pay more in taxes? So that's why I chose the way I did. But again, I walked in knowing that I have to pay that burden as a taxpayer. And then number 8, expanding the homestead exemption eligibility for surviving spouses of service members killed or fatally wounded or fatally injured in the line of duty. And you'll notice that I changed my language a little bit from that one because it just said surviving spouses of service members. That's just everybody. It has to be clear that this is for service members killed or fatally injured in the line of duty. And it says their surviving spouses get those benefits as well. That's it. Those are the 8 propositions on the ballot. Every one of y'all will see those on your ballot. Now, we do have some locally supported candidates, and depending on where you are, and if you were on this page and you were logged in to TexasRealEstate.com, it will tell you, if you scroll up a little bit, please, Mike. You can click on local elections over here, that local elections tab, and it'll give you all of them. But if you're logged in, it'll only give you yours, and it'll tell you what's on your ballot. And if you notice right here in the top three, these are candidates we supported for the Association of Realtors. Two of these are in shirts. It's Allison Hayward and Tim Brown. Tim was on here earlier, and I don't see him anymore. Donnie Wills and Kyle. But those are realtors that we supported in the committees out of this board interviewed these candidates and recommended them for. So, excuse me. On our Facebook page, y'all may have already seen this. If you're here in this room, you will see this on the back with QR codes here. These are all the early voting locations, times, everything you need to know where to go vote and how to vote. If I had put this in a packet for you and printed out all this material, it'd be 10 pages long. This is easy for you. You pick your county. I've got all 5 counties that we represent. Just hold your camera on your phone over it. You don't need to take a picture or anything. Just hold it over it, tap on it, it'll bring up the page. Tell you where to go to early vote. It'll even show you your ballot in many cases. The last thing I've got to talk about. Everything I've talked about here today, we are not able to do without the support of TreePack. And y'all know about TreePack. I've talked to you about it before. Here is the opportunity for y'all to get involved early. As I said, we're moving quick. We're moving quick. I am super proud. We've got a great leadership team for our TreePack committee this year. It's Brent Dameron is our chair, and Michelle Carmago Bjorley. Did I get it right? I mispronounce it every time. I worked hard to get it right, and I hope she's proud of me. Anyway, we have events going up all over our area this year. We've got them all planned out already, so we're ahead of the game. It allows us to put on even better events as the year goes on. In fact, at our last meeting, Linda's on here, and I know she was skiing this last meeting. It was important to our committee members to do an event in Seguin this year. So at our last meeting, they planned out an event in Seguin. We're going to do that later in the year. More details will come up. We did that just for Linda because we saw her at the meeting we had in Seguin last year. But our first one is going to be at the installation gala. Who's going to the installation gala for Debbie? Excuse me. I see some hands here. I see some hands on the screen there. We're going to do a wreath for TreePack event. Bring a wreath, and this is where I need all the brokers. This is why it's important to this meeting right here. This is specifically asking our brokers involved. We need y'all to commit to bringing a wreath to the gala. You can bring it ahead of time to me if you're not going to be there. I hope everybody's going to be there. You bring a wreath, we're going to auction them off for TreePack. We've got a special event going on the side that if you bring a wreath, you're going to get 10 tickets to that special event. But we'll talk more about that later. But if you bring a wreath for TreePack, we will advertise that you are supporting TreePack. I've already got the Dameron Group, Corner Post Real Estate, the Lone Real Estate, that's Debbie, that's our incoming chair. Austin SA Real Estate Services, that's Peggy Jones, that's our TreePack trustee for the state level this coming year. New Braunfels Title Company, and of course, Hart Property, thanks to Pat. Those are the ones we have purchased from so far. We're going to auction those wreaths off. All the proceeds go to TreePack to support the issues we just talked about and the local candidate support that we were just talking about that's coming up. If you donate a wreath, there are prizes. If your wreath brings in the most amount of money, if your wreath has the most bids, if your wreath is the crowd favorite, Who here wants their 2022 dues paid? And if you have already paid them, a check back for that? Who wants that?
There we go. Who here would like 6 months of their MLS paid? I should see all hands go up.
Who here wants a $100 gift card? All good stuff. These are great prizes.
Those are the prizes if you bring a wreath and it wins at our auction.
So, if anybody wants to commit to bringing a wreath, I'm going to be right over here. You can tell me.
Or you can email me. Again, my email, casey@realtors.com. I'd be more than happy to talk to you about any of the issues we've talked about today, or anything else, political, government affairs, local issues, whatever we've got going on. Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move on to professional standards with, Dealey Edwards. Hello, Dealey.
Needs to unmute.
You're muted.
Unmute.
You're muted, Lee.
Are you able to unmute him?
We can't hear you, Lee.
Yeah, it's kind of,
There we go.
There, there.
It's okay, you're on.
hey, still don't have you. You're unmuted, but we're not hearing you.
Okay, it's not muted.
Can you hear me now?
There we go. Now, it was on our end. You got it.
Okay, we got it. I had another button I had to hit. Okay, so professional standards, we've been very busy recently. We're getting a lot of comments coming on about multiple standards, multiple offers. So what we've done is in your attachment, you have a flyer to distribute to your personnel, to your agents, post in your office, send it to someone you think needs this. And it talks about the multiple risks in multiple offers. Some of the areas that we've been seeing is, number one, we're getting a lot of comments about offers, counter offers not being in writing. We just want them to clearly understand if it's not in writing, it's nothing literally. Next, be careful about accepting or sending narratives exposing people's marital, familial status, race, creed, color, religion, or similar facts that could create prejudices or preconceptions that could hurt more than they help. And with the recent NAR lawsuits and the DOJ and a push toward really making sure we've got fair housing issues, exposing your clients, trying to use a technique with the narrative may not be the best situation. No photos of your buyers, again, that can taint the situation. And so I think you just need to be careful about it. Sellers decide on when to view and accept offers, not agents. You can only recommend. Let's talk about that one for just a second. We're seeing in the MLS, a lot of people, agents putting in narratives that say all offers will be considered on Monday at 5 o'clock. And then the complaints arise when you accept an offer because of the seller's direction on Saturday night. If they're going to put that narrative in, they need to put a disclaimer that says that the seller reserves the right to change the offer structure without notice. Many people are recommending that you take it out. Now, there's a second problem that's propped up. We don't have it in this. We'll probably put it in a revision, is that when they say the offers won't be considered and dealt with till Monday, you submit an offer on Friday. When does the offer have to be presented to their seller? Time is of the essence. And the general rule is it's got to be in their possession within 48 hours. They don't have to take action on it. They don't have to consider it, but the agent has to deliver it into his seller's possession, unless, of course, they're out of the country with no internet and this, that, and the other, and they're coming back in. That's a special exception. But we are hearing more and more complaints about non-presentation of offers. If you face-to-face offerings, we've had a few complaints about people being refused the ability to present the offer for their buyer directly to the seller with the agent present. Only the seller can reject that, and it must be in writing. It can't be verbal. The next one is title company picked by seller if seller really cares and is paying. But if seller doesn't really care, don't be an impediment. If buyer pays, buyer's choice. Counter offers to be binding must be in writing. It's wise if offer over asking price to request proof of funds. This is not a requirement. It's just a recommendation to help some of your agents not have bad contracts go down because they didn't do that. And they always need to remember their fiduciary responsibility. Now, additional comments and complaints that we're getting, which we will probably address in the near future, is differentials not being stipulated. Now, earlier in the MLS, we talked about they're going to publish the commission if your brokerage in dual agency, well, not dual, in intermediary, does a differential. In other words, they reduce the commission. In a multiple offer situation, that has to be disclosed in order to have a fair and equitable competition. Failure to disclose that item is a serious violation of the articles of the NAR. And then not accepting offers after escrow. Now that doesn't mean presentation of the offer. If someone wants to make an offer, even while you're in escrow, they're being turned away and said, look, it's a solid contract, don't waste your time. That's fine. But if they still decide to send it, you've got to present it. You can't sandbag it or hold it back. And then the last one, changing offer acceptance. Again, you just need to publish that in the remarks that it is subject to change. The seller has control, not the agent. So that's some of the things. Starting in January, we're working on a program to help you that we will have we're hoping to get a video online once a month of an article, and we plan to go through 12 articles next year, try to find a way for your agents to be able to see them, give them some good examples of how the violations in the articles are to help their professionalism improve. Anybody have any questions? Well, I've bored you to death, so that's really good. Please distribute this. We're finding that these flyers, when they go out, our complaint levels drop every time we put one out. We'd really like to see that. Okay? And that's all I have today.
All right, thank you, Dealey. Up next, Regina is going to give us a few updates.
Actually, I'm only going to give one, and I'm going to turn it over to Lisa. She handles this much better. We're just going to be sending an email out to all of the brokers. We're trying to start a kind of an A-team program. We know that we're hitting the mark with all of our new agents and going over all of the products and the benefits that we offer as an association. But there's been a lot of changes, and there are a lot of existing members that may not be aware of some of the things that we're offering. So what we're looking to do is to present the ability for you to schedule for your sales meetings for Mike to come out for the MLS, Casey with the advocacy, Lisa with our member benefits, myself and possibly one of the executive board leadership to come out to your offices and have a Q&A time. What is it that, you know, we're offering? There's a lot of things we get calls where an agent will call, and my broker said to go ahead and call. I'm trying to decide between joining you and joining Austin, or joining you and joining San Antonio, and that's absolutely fine. You need to know what you have and what are your benefits. And so if we can kind of do this at each of the offices, we might be able to kind of reach a broader audience. So just an email will go out next month offering for signups for the first quarter of 2022. We're going to see how this program works. And it's not based on office size. It's really first come, first serve. And Lisa, the rest of it I'm turning over to you.
Right, good. Let's see if I can share the screen here.
You have to go to this screen over here, and then go to the bottom, and then share screen. I know, it's running dual monitor, so it's a little weird, backwards. The other one. The one with the faces on it, the Zoom 2, and then you'll have to move your screen over. Hit share. And then slide your window over to this side. There you go. Oh, sorry.
Okay, great. Okay, so I just wanted to show our brokers and managers a few things on the website that may be helpful when you're getting new agents or looking for things that Four Rivers is doing or how to transition things. So this is our public homepage. So on the public homepage, there's a couple things under resources. Whenever we have a luncheon or a presentation, I always get that information and I attach it here. So for instance, we had our Seguin luncheon last week, and they gave us 2 really good updates. So the presenters have provided those to me, and I have them right here for you, so you're able to go in and view them and download them. Very good information, really good updates about what's coming to Seguin. So anytime you're looking for that stuff, go to the resources page, and it's going to be under the resources page. Hard to navigate this.
A little hard with the window right there.
Okay. How can I find it?
Go Alt Tab. Hey, hang on, I might be able to grab it here.
Alt. There we go. Navigate it a little bit. There it is. Okay. So that's under resources. So anytime we have a presentation or anything, so the multiple offer risk flyer that you went over is right there as well. Anything we get from the legislative successes, from NAR, so all that's under resources for you guys. And I put it on the public homepage. You can share these links with people because if I put it on the member side, they would have to log in to get that information. That's why it's on the public home side. Also, just in case you don't know, when you have agents coming to your brokerage and onboarding, this is where you show them how do I become a member of Four Rivers or how do I get access to CTX MLS. So you want to go to the join membership and then our realtor applications here. If you're an affiliate here, CTX MLS applications here. If you're trying to onboard a staff or CA here, and then we have the CTX CIE, which is the Commercial Information Exchange application right there. So anytime you're guiding your agents to join Four Rivers or CTX MLS, that's where you would go. If you want to know what we do here, you need to contact anybody at Four Rivers. This is our staff and every department that we're in. So I wouldn't waste time, who do I need to talk to about super? Who do I need to talk to about governmental affairs? Just come to our staff page and then you can click and contact us really easy. Also, I want to point out these social media links up here. If you don't know, we have very active Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We have a very robust YouTube channel right now. I've been doing lots of videos with Casey and with TreePack and just different things. So we have a lot of videos on our YouTube channel. So use those quick links
and visit our pages for social media and share those out or get that information for yourself. So all of our social media links are up here at the top.
That's kind of on the public side, and on the member home side, of course, anytime you want to sign up or register for a class, it's
Under education, and that guides you to our calendar of events that has everything that's going on in the association each month.
they're color categorized for you, and the legend is at the bottom.
So if you're looking for education, that's orange. If you're looking for committee meetings, they're in green.
Board meetings are in blue, property tours and caravans, so you don't necessarily have to look at everything.
Everything that's on the calendar, you can just pick the topic that you're looking for and then see everything in that category. So that's the calendar of events.
And then
You also have our resources here for members. And so one thing that's really important under the resources is our new Safe Showing Enterprise feature. You're going to want to tell your agents about this. This is a product we purchased for our members.
it's an app, you download it, and it helps you when you're on showings, it helps you be safe and secure, it gives you tips on taking pictures of people that are at your open houses for safety. So this is where you would navigate how to
get safe showing started, and you can provide this information to your agents at your sales meetings as well. So that's under the resources on your member home side.
If they ever want to join a committee, that's under Get Involved, so all of our committees are there. We just had a committee sign up.
It did very well. I think we gained about 8 to 10 new members for each committee, so 2022 is going to be really
Fun. But if anybody's interested in what committees we have, what they do,
when they need, how to join them, that's under Get Involved. Okay, and then
Mike kind of went over the Learning Center with you, but
but we have a learning center for your matrix, for RPR, for showing time.
for super and home visit.
So if we're off or we're closed and you can't contact the board, you can come to the learning center and try to get assistance from there. There's lots of webinars and videos and FAQs on those products right there. So that's the learning center. Let's see, and then I want to go to something else under resources for you guys. If your agents want to know, I need to change my phone number or my email address with the board, how do I do that? They cannot do that on their own. We have to do that for them. So they have to contact us, let us know what information is changing, and then we update all the databases from the local, state, and national level for you guys, and we do that processing for you. So when your agents ask you, how do I make these changes within the association, this is where you'll go. It's resources, and there's member forms for changes, and then there's information change forms. And the correct person gets that form, processes it, and sends you a confirmation email that that has been taken care of.
One other thing under resources is
For you all specifically, it's broker manager resources. This is just our main contact page, so if you have any questions, that's our information there. But I've downloaded the broker responsibility manual for you all, and then I have a new agent intro packet from our partners at the CE Shop. So when new agents are coming on board, this is very helpful information from the CE Shop to get started in real estate. And probably something you guys really need to know is how much does it cost to become a member here. So when you're telling your agents, when you join Four Rivers, this is what you're going to have to pay up front. This spreadsheet tells you kind of what you want to know. So if you're joining the board, it's a $150 application fee. If you're coming in June, it would be $370.75 prorated. So you can kind of give them an estimate of what their dues are going to be when they come here and join, because sometimes it's sticker shock. So we put this grid up there to help you guys navigate the fees and everything for Four Rivers. Let's see, okay, market viewer infographics, that's a big thing. So there's a couple places on the website where I have those.
on the public home side, they're under resources and
Under housing market statistics. So what I've provided for you today is the third quarter for all our 5 counties in the state of Texas, so you have those. But this is where all the others are housed. So if you want to come to the website and download these, share these, please do, this is information for you guys. This is not proprietary information, it's information for you guys to spread out, look like experts, know what's going on in the area that you're working in. So that's one place where they're housed. If you're on the member side, they are under resources and market viewer infographics. So it takes you to the same place, just a different way to get there for you guys. So these are the PDFs. I also convert them into PNGs and post them on Facebook every month. So if you like and share our Facebook pages, there's always an album every month with that market for infographics in image formats that you can share in a different way. So I do PDF and image right now, and I always tell people I get so much information from the real estate data center. If I don't post an area or city or province or something that you're working in, I can get that for you and provide it. So if you don't see it on there, just contact me and I can probably get that area information for you because it covers the whole state of Texas. So, but I only publish where our jurisdiction lies, which is our 5 counties. So those are just some broker manager resources for you guys on the website, just in case you didn't know that. So do we have any questions? All right. So those are tools, market viewer infographics. Like I said, you have the 5 plus the state of Texas today. I'll be posting the Q3 this afternoon. You'll have those at your disposal. And like I told someone this morning, I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Amy. The association gets these infographics 30 days before you all have access to them. So you all actually do have access to these if you go to Texas Real Estate. Market viewer. But you have them 30 days after we get them. So you would log in with your Texas Realtors account and it's going to bring up the market viewer dashboard. And then you pick the area or the month, the quarter, the year, whatever time frame you're wanting to look and download, and you can get them there yourself, as well as just 30 days behind what we're posting. So that's texasrealestate.com/market viewer.
We do also have on our website, we store our past ones. So they can also, when they're on our website, go and get the other ones.
I do, yeah, they're all stored. I don't ever delete any, so I don't know how far they go back, but it's pretty far.
The gentleman I was talking about earlier that was exporting all that data, when I contacted him, he's like, well, I'm trying to do all these statistics for my brokerage or for my office, and I'm trying to do this, that, and the other. I'm like, Texas Real Estate Center already does that for you. Have you seen the infographics? No, what's that? Well, no. A lot of people don't realize how much they have and the tools available. So these are great infographics. And then I'll see some published by other MLSs and associations around us. They're doing their own, which is not a complete snapshot of what's really going on. Only these ones from Texas A&M and the data center are massaged out for all the duplicates and triplicates, and there's other oddities and stuff that they do. So they put a lot of work into what they're presenting for us. So.
Very true, thank you. Yeah, that's why I don't massage the data or manipulate these at all. I just leave them as they are, because this is the actual data coming out of the real estate center. So looks like they go back to 2019 right now, but there's a lot on there for you.
I use that data when I'm talking to elected officials at all levels, because it is fantastic information to show them what's going on in their area, and that data can be brought down all the way to a district, so they can even go to a neighborhood.
And we do get data some on commercials. We don't get any data on leasing or renting, unfortunately. They cannot find a way to quantify that, but I think they're working on it at Texas Realtors. They just don't have anything for leases or rentals right now, because we get asked a lot of questions from publications and news people about rentals and leases, and we can't provide that data. So those are the market viewer infographics. And then just current and upcoming benefits. So obviously our existing benefits include free education, at least 18 hours. So that almost fulfills your licensing renewal. So anytime you see a class that says free on it, that, and you don't have to pay for your education. You can get your entire license renewal paid for if you just look out for those free classes. We provide those. We also have discounts on our board store items. If you haven't been into our board store, we have everything you need for open houses and your Realtor brand. You get a discount on those. Obviously, we have our Supra reciprocity with our keys. So primary members of Four Rivers, their Super Key opens San Antonio and Austin lock boxes without having to belong to those associations. So that's a huge member benefit. When your agents are asking you, should I go here or here? You'll be able to tell them, well, at Four Rivers, their primary members have the E-Key reciprocity. It might save you some money and time and aggravation. So just know that those are benefits of our local members here. Safe Showings, that safety app that I just went over, that's a new member benefit. We provide that to you at no additional cost because we care about the safety of our Realtor members. And then something exciting coming up in 2022 is this room that's adjacent right here. We're going to redo it, and we're making it into a media room. So we're going to have full audio-visual recording, press release areas. So our hope is to bring in our brokers and managers and have them on panels and interviews and stuff and get the knowledge that you have to share with our members and be able to broadcast that out to not only our members, but consumers in the public. So the media room is going to be a big deal next year. We're going to we'll send an invitation for brokers and managers who want to be involved in that kind of media. And then if you are, we'll set up times for recording, and we'll get scripts and information, and then you'll be the source of information to our members and the public. So the media room is going to be a super big deal. And kind of the last thing is just always our leadership opportunities. So we have opportunities not just here with our committees and chairs, but at the state level, we have our political involvement people, we have our VPs. Those are all nominated from the association. So that's a state level leadership opportunity. And then even at the national level, there's opportunities that we give our members. So we have leadership opportunities. 3 of our members just graduated from the Texas Realtor Leadership Program that we sponsored here. So we invest in their business and their knowledge. So we have all those opportunities for you. And that's the benefits recap.
One last thing that I'll add on to here, and I know that Dawn has been sending out religiously about the COE, the Realtor Code of Ethics. We used to not have to worry about that because it was covered in your TREC licensing classes. That is not the case anymore. This is our first go-around where it's hard fact. Anybody who has not had the course when we come back January 2nd, they don't have access to MLS, Supra, zip forms, anything, if they don't have that course done. So please help us spread the word. If somebody's not sure if they've had it, LaDawn is the person to check with. She's keeping tabs on it and making sure that we get it. You can take it for free. You can take it with a cost for CE credit. The point is you just have got to get it in. 2.5 hours. Can't say enough about it.
Just check, because I had it through the legal in 19. And Stabler kept telling me I had to get it. I called PAR, and they had to fix something.
Well, there's been some interesting things that have come about from this. One of them has been things that we found out going forward. Typically, your provider is the one that would send in the information, so it would be updated at the national site. And I know that Texas Realtors has MAR has partnered with CE Shop. We assumed CE Shop was uploading the people that were taking this. They were not. So all of a sudden, we send out these reminders and people are coming back with certificates saying, I took it, here's my certificate from CE Shop. It's not showing on the site where we're looking. So we found out about this, we corrected that. The only thing I can say with this is that, just like what you're saying, if you believe you've had it, then just get with LaDawn. Don't assume because of what's going to happen. Don't assume that you've had it. I'm okay. If you're not sure, please reach out to her. She will be able to confirm that.
You go to the truck website too, and it will post any classes they give you credit for.
Right, and because of this particular course, it doesn't have to have CE credit, it's just the Realtor Code of Ethics. So if you're taking it for non-CE credit, it's not gonna show up on Trex. That's why Trex is not the best way to look at this. Yeah. So
You go in your profiles for the different boards that you're members of and see if it says you've met that requirement or not. And if it says no, then you have to go and prove to them where you got it, that you did do it.
Well, and this is where you can just get LaDawn and she'll take care of that for you. That's what I'm saying. She's your best resource for this.
Is it on our website as well, where we can look that up, what she's talking about?
No, this is on the National Association of Realtors website. And this is why I say talk with LaDawn, because this is how we found out, because this is the list we've been using, because we didn't want to bombard everybody if they've already had it. So she's been targeting only those that haven't had it. And we were getting calls from people saying, you're telling me I haven't had it, I have. NAR wasn't showing it was on there, the list we were working off of, because the school wasn't uploading it. The other issue was if a person took it as a new member versus an existing member. There was an issue with that also. So, yes, so it's been a bit of a ride for us. So I, again, just encourage, contact LaDawn. She's the best resource for this, and she can confirm that you've had it or you haven't had it. And if she says you've had it, get it in writing and you're set. And that way, if something happens on the second, you got it. LaDawn said I had it. That's it. That's all we need.
Call on LaDawn.
LaDawn, that's right.
Call her judge.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, Regina, and thank you, Lisa. I just want to, just say a couple last things, and then we'll close this up. One thing that we are working again with this whole media room and with these infographics, I know as brokers, we get asked to be interviewed. We've done stuff for Impact News, GSMP, a lot of the local newspapers, and that's really important. Is we want the infographics that are posted to be coming with Four Rivers logo, and that's kind of a big deal, because a lot of times they were using sources that were not even from our area and trying to give us our statistics, and they weren't accurate, like he was saying. So it is very important, if you do get contacted, just know that, you know, we are gonna have this as a resource for all of our members. And we do want to be the source for this area. We want it coming from Four Rivers. So I just wanted to restate that. And then for next year, you know, we're working on what do we need to provide to our brokers here. These meetings are really important, and we're glad that we're starting to get, you know, we've had a last rough couple of years, but we're getting back in the swing of things. If you have any ideas or topics or things that you hear between a meeting, please share that, send it to Debbie, your new incoming president, so she can look at this and see if we can add this to an agenda, because you know how stuff just all of a sudden turns up in your area or somebody else's area that we may not necessarily have heard, but it is important to the membership. So if you have a topic or you think there's something important, please share that with us so that we can be bringing you the information at our quarterly broker meetings, because this is for us. This is for us to get the information and then disseminate this to our agents. So, and I think that's it. So I just want to, Casey Lee?
Two things. Thanks for the comments here. I am now down a rabbit hole about homestead exemption. And I have to talk to you about it before we leave here. But we have another commitment to our Reach the Tree Pack, Colo, Banker, Dan Harper, Realtors Legacy Team.
Thanks, Casey Lee. And it's been a pleasure to do these broker meetings. This is my last one again, so thank you all for being here. And I will see you hopefully at the banquet coming up in December.
Patty does phenomenal. Thank you.
So, yay, go team. Go team. Meeting adjourned. Bye, everyone.
Bye.